giving honor to God for this opportunity to be on this award-winning radio show, Breaking Bread, with Pastor Rich. Giving honor to her husband and my husband who's here with me, and my pastor. I attend the Chosen Vessel Cathedral. Bishop Richard E. Young is my pastor.
Amen.
But under his watch, the Lord had birthed in me a ministry. By trade, I'm a nurse. I went to school for nursing, and I lost my clinical touch. Took care of my grandfather, and I just could not do nursing anymore.
Wow.
And during that time, I went to, a friend of mine actually introduced me to the National Grants Association. Through that, I went to Washington, D.C. and began to be a grant reviewer. So I actually learned how to do what I did from the back end to the front end.
Wow.
So not knowing that God took me this whole journey. And I remember I was in Washington, D.C. and I was working for the Bureau of Primary Health Care. And the Lord had me downtown and he said, Tavian, look up. And I just began to look up. He says, what do you see? I'm like, buildings, you like, God, you ask me these questions. And he's like, no, look up. He said, and I said, okay, God, you tell me what I'm supposed to see. And I could see the Department of Engraving and the Department of Treasury, Department of Interior, and I was literally in the middle of downtown DC. And the Lord said to me, he said, everything that affects this nation has to go through DC. So the reason why I sent you to Washington, DC was because what I've called you to do is going to affect the nation. So not knowing what I knew then, but that I know now, I came back home and the Lord gave me this word. He said, seasons. Coming from Ecclesiastes 3:1, to everything there is a season. And I told, my family about God gave me this. He just gave me one word, seasons. And my mom said, well, that sounds like something you cook. I said, no, God gave me this word. And it was before the song Donald Lawrence came out with, seasons. But he gave it to me exactly a year before that song hit. And in that, I went ahead and got my business together. But what I started doing is when I got ready to incorporate seasons, he gave me seasons of life. And it was really to help women who were single moms going through hard times so that they could purchase clothing to go to interviews and clothing to go to meetings and appointments, just so that they could feel good about themselves. But what happened is Seasons of Life was taken. And it was actually a woman in Austin on the phone. She says, well, why don't you name your organization Seasons of Change? And I said, well, all the other ones were taken. So she gave me the name Seasons of Change. Well, Seasons of Change is really my story. It's my journey. It's how basically living that single life. And then when my season changed, I became married.